Every choice looks small in the moment. A decision, a lie, a risk taken too fast. But what if every single choice is already leading toward destruction? In Sinners, nothing happens by accident. Every action feeds a chain reaction that turns hope into horror. The return to a broken home. The story begins in Jim Crow-era Mississippi, where two brothers, Smoke and Stack, return after building a life in Chicago. They are not heroes returning home, they are fugitives returning to unfinished history. Their goal is simple: start over. Build something of their own. Create freedom in a place that has never allowed it. But the world they return to is already poisoned. Their young cousin Sammy is introduced early as a symbol of innocence. He is bright, ambitious, and desperate to escape small-town limitations. When Smoke and Stack arrive, he sees them as proof that escape is possible. But the brothers see something else. There is no real escape, only different versions of struggle. Smoke is calm, strategic, and cautious. Stack is impulsive, emotional, and reckless. Together, they represent two survival philosophies, and both are about to be tested. Building the juke joint, a dream before the fall. The brothers purchase an old mill and begin building a juke joint. It becomes a symbol of hope, a space where black music, culture, and freedom can exist without permission. But the foundation of this dream is unstable. Smoke wants planning. Stack wants urgency. One believes in survival through control. The other believes in survival through momentum. Even freedom can collapse when it is rushed. Sammy becomes the emotional engine of the project, helping gather musicians and prepare for opening night. They recruit Delta Slim, a gifted but reluctant performer, and Pearl, whose voice carries emotional weight beyond her years. At the same time, Stack reconnects with Mary, his former lover. Their relationship is filled with resentment, love, and unresolved pain. Smoke, meanwhile, visits Annie, his spiritual partner, and the grave of their lost child, a reminder that even survival has already cost him everything. This is where the film quietly establishes its core idea. Every character is already carrying destruction before the horror even arrives. The first sign of darkness. While the juke joint prepares to open, something unnatural begins spreading outside town. A man arrives at a farmhouse, his skin burning under the sun. He is injured, desperate, and lying. He claims he is being chased. The family inside hesitates, but lets him in. This is the first true warning. Because the man is not human, he is a vampire. And what follows is the first transformation of the night. Infection spreads quickly, quietly, and permanently. The horror does not arrive, it spreads. The vampire infects others inside the house, turning safety into slaughter. The survivors realize too late that trust was their mistake. This sequence establishes a pattern. Every act of mercy becomes a doorway to destruction. The juke joint opens, joy before chaos. Back at the mill, the juke joint opened successfully. Music, laughter, and celebration fill the space. It feels like freedom, finally earned. But horror does not interrupt joy. It waits inside it. A mysterious stranger arrives at the door with charm and music. His presence feels theatrical, almost harmless. But his arrival triggers a chain reaction that will destroy everything. This stranger is Remick, the vampire leader. At first, he blends in. He plays music. He observes. He waits. And then, he strikes. The vampire outbreak. Trust collapsing. Once the transformation begins inside the juke joint, everything changes. Friends become threats. Lovers become dangers. Every person must now be questioned. This is where the film shifts from historical drama to survival horror. The vampires are not traditional monsters. They are smarter. They retain memory. They absorb identity. Losing someone means they now know how to hurt you perfectly. This makes the horror deeply personal. Every bite is not just death, it is emotional betrayal. Inside the juke joint, paranoia spreads faster than violence. Alliances collapse. People panic. Music turns into chaos. The space that was meant to represent freedom becomes a cage. The power of music, the film's heart. Music is not just background in Sinners, it is power. From the beginning, the film suggests that music connects cultures, generations, spiritual worlds. Sammy's guitar becomes the most important object in the story. It is not just an instrument, it is a bridge between reality and something beyond it. When Sammy plays, music transforms into something almost supernatural. It blends African rhythms, blues history, and future sounds into one continuous expression. Music becomes memory, and memory becomes survival. Even the vampires understand this power. They use music to lure, manipulate, and control. Remick sings folk songs not just for entertainment but as psychological domination. The true meaning of Remick's offer. As chaos unfolds, Remick presents his philosophy. Join him, become like him. Escape pain, death, and division. At first it sounds like salvation, but it is not. It is assimilation through loss of identity. Mary becomes the first to accept this illusion, believing she can exist between two worlds. But she is immediately transformed, proving there is no middle ground. In survival through power, individuality disappears first. Remick's vision is not freedom. It is control disguised as unity. Smoke and Stack, two paths, one destiny. The twin brothers represent two opposing responses to oppression. Smoke cut discipline, protection, emotional restraint. Stack cut impulse, desire, rebellion. Throughout the night, both are forced to evolve. Stack loses control faster, reacting emotionally to danger. Smoke becomes increasingly focused, willing to sacrifice anything to protect Willa and Annie's legacy. But both are ultimately shaped by the same truth. Their choices always lead back to loss. Even their colors reflect transformation: blue, red, blood, smoke, identity blending under pressure. The final battle: Sunrise A&D Destruction. As dawn approaches, the surviving characters attempt one final resistance. Sammy uses his guitar to disrupt the vampires' coordination, slowing their advance. The sun becomes the final weapon. When sunlight arrives, most vampires are destroyed instantly. Remick is consumed, his influence erased in fire and light. But victory is not clean, because survival always has a price. The second horror, humanity returns. Just when the supernatural threat ends, human violence arrives. A group of clan members attacks at sunrise, exploiting the chaos. Smoke realizes the truth. Monsters were never the only danger. He fights back, eliminating them, but is fatally wounded in the process. In his final moments, Smoke enters a spiritual vision where he reunites with Annie and their child. His death is not framed as defeat, but release. A moment of peace after a life of violence. Sammy's future: legacy over survival. A mid-credit sequence reveals Sammy refusing to abandon music. Instead, he embraces it fully, becoming a legendary blues musician in the future. Music survives him. His legacy becomes proof that creation outlives destruction. He is offered immortality by Stack and Mary, but refuses. Living forever is not the same as being remembered. The final message: everything leads somewhere. At its core, Sinners is not just a horror film. It is a story about consequence. Every choice leads to transformation, lost survival, or destruction. There are no neutral decisions, only delayed consequences. Even love becomes dangerous when placed inside systems built on fear. Even music becomes a weapon when survival is at stake. Conclusion: Sinners shows that horror is not just supernatural, it is human, historical, and inherited. The vampires are only one layer of the story. The deeper horror is this: every generation inherits the consequences of the last. But the film also leaves one final truth. Even in destruction, something survives. A song, a memory, a legacy, and sometimes that is enough. And that is the full breakdown of Sinners Explained: How Every Choice Leads to Destruction. If you enjoyed this deep movie recap and analysis, Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another breakdown like this. And don't forget to watch more movie recaps and explanations with us for more powerful stories, hidden meanings, and detailed breakdowns. See you in the next video.